All right. Well, South Carolina, another mostly dry day today. Yes, mostly dry. We had some showers trying to go throughout the state today, and it looked like for a good amount of the day that it was going to rain, but where I was, it did not. We're going to be talking about tonight's weather, and also we're going to be talking about a cold front that approaches as we go into this weekend, and slightly cooler temperatures as we go into next week. I am your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your future. Starting off, what is going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, right now, absolutely nothing. Nice, dry conditions right now throughout the state of South Carolina. But if we scroll our way out, what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? We're talking about some rainfall activity going on from Michigan down through Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky. Some rainfall going on over here inside of Virginia, Pennsylvania, with some severe weather going on. We have severe weather in Mississippi right now, also inside of Texas and parts of southeastern Oklahoma. We have some severe weather also going on over here inside of Arkansas, and then also over here near one of the four areas that we talk about outside of South Carolina, Duncan, Oklahoma. There's a severe thunderstorm warning to the west of Duncan, that being for 1.75-inch in diameter hail that's going through southern Lawton right now, moving through Geronimo down towards Walters. Now, everybody else, rainfall in the Dakotas, Nebraska, snowfall in Montana, Wyoming, rainfall over here in the west, but for the most part, we're not looking too bad. Now, what about for our current conditions, current cloud cover? Well, current cloud cover right now seems to be more isolated and spotty more than anything. We're not seeing anything too active right now in terms of cloud cover. And even if we go on to look at that cloud cover for the future, as we move into tonight, we're talking about cloud cover trying to move in from the west over into the east. We go all the way into tomorrow morning at around 10, 11 to 12 o'clock p.m. More cloud cover moving in from the west, moving east. And we also do have some cloud cover that tries to move in, especially as we get into the afternoon and the evening hours. That will completely try to cover us all with cloud cover as we go into tomorrow evening. But for right now, it's not looking too bad. Now, as we go all the way into Sunday morning comes along, going into Sunday afternoon, cloud cover has now moved its way all the way over to the east. And now we're talking about nice, clear conditions starting to come about. Now, what about for our current temperatures? Well, right now we're seeing mostly 60s and 70s, as we have been, from 68 in Charleston to Georgetown to 69 in Beaufort, 67 in Somerville, 70 in Orangeburg, as well as 69 at Myrtle Beach, 68 in North Myrtle Beach, 73 Florence, 70 Lugoff, 68 Newberry, 69 Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, 71 Clemson. Now, air quality, for the most part, it's looking like that we are mostly inside that moderate category, which again does make sense. We have those smoky conditions still from Georgia trying to move its way through, and then we also do have some good conditions going on right now throughout the low country, though. You can see kind of like that area, Tri-County area, Berkeley, Charleston, Dorchester County. So there's a little bit of a dome right there, but everybody else seems to be more inside the moderate. Low temperatures for tonight, we're talking about widespread 50s and some 60s. 58 Greenville, Spartanburg, 61 in Columbia, 58 in Newberry, 60 Aiken, 59 in Orangeburg, 57 Kingstree, 60 Georgetown, 64 inside of Charleston, and 67 in Hilton Head Island. High temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about widespread 80s, maybe some 90s, 90 in Columbia, Camden, 89 inside of Moncks Corner, 88 in Walterboro, 86 in Charleston, 85 in Georgetown, 79 inside of Myrtle Beach, and 87 in Aiken, 85 Greenwood, 82 up there near Greenville. Now, as we go on and look at our rainfall is definitely possible as we go throughout the next 24 hours. Again, this goes throughout the next 24 hours, so this is now going into tomorrow. And we do have some rainfall. Now, when will this rainfall be moving in? It probably will be most likely tomorrow. Probably during like the afternoon, evening hours, that we may see some rainfall trying to move throughout the state. And well needed. As you know, we're currently inside of a drought right now, and the entire state is inside of a drought right now. So we desperately need this rainfall badly. So let's go on and look at the SPC outlook. Apparently, this risk was added a bit earlier, but we had a risk of thunderstorms today near the coastal areas, maybe even some of the inland Tri-County areas, most of the Grand Strand. But for right now, I mean, honestly, nothing's going on, and I do think that that's going to be allowed to expire. Tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible for the entire state. Yes, everybody has a chance for a thunderstorm tomorrow, so do not be shocked tomorrow if you see one. And then Sunday, more confined to the low country, the southern Midlands, the Grand Strand, the eastern PD areas. They have a risk of thunderstorm activity on Sunday. Now, what about for fire weather? Fire weather, nothing here. Excessive rainfall, nothing here as well. So let's go on now and talk about the future. Number one, with the crazy score. Because if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now we're at a 13. Why? Well, mainly for tonight, it's going to be mostly clear. Light south winds, dry conditions. There still is a little bit of an elevated fire weather concern, even though it's not technically mapped. There is still technically that ongoing drought that still goes on. You know, obviously we're having dry conditions, no rainfall in a hot minute. I mean, that just causes for some elevated fire weather concerns. And if I'm not mistaken, the South Carolina Forestry Commission still has not put out that burn ban yet. So that burn ban is still in effect, and we will not have to. We still will not be able to burn as we go throughout the next couple of hours, next couple of days. You know, whatever they decide to go on and lift it. You know, we'll see whenever that happens. I do think that it probably will be let up this weekend just due to the fact that we're getting some rainfall. But again, I'm not the official, so we're gonna take their word for it. So now starting off with the future, we're gonna start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. And just as we go in and push this forward, remember time at the bottom part of your screen. You go in and push this forward, and we're talking about dry conditions all the way throughout the morning hours. Tomorrow, nice conditions. We go all the way through to around noon tomorrow. Still nice and dry conditions. And then we finally start to see some rainfall, maybe some thunderstorm activity starting to go on in the upstate around 3 o'clock p.m. Maybe some isolated coastal showers as well as you get into the afternoon. Then once you get to around 4 to 5 p.m., you start to see more showers and storms pushing to the west, moving to the upstate areas. And then you're starting to see some more showers kind of pop up in front of that line there. You're starting to see some in the low country by around 5 o'clock p.m. going to 6 o'clock p.m. You see some going on in the Midlands. You see some going on in the PD areas as well. And so that goes all the way to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, going all the way to 11 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. And by the time we get into Sunday morning, I mean, here we are at 5 o'clock in the morning. We still are talking about rainfall activity going on inside of the state of South Carolina. Now, as we go all the way into around 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, it finally starts to move its way out, and we start talking about drier conditions. But Saturday does seem like a rainy day for us, and a transition day as a cold front moves its way through. Now, what about for our long-term future? We're going to start off here at the 48-hour mark, and just as we go on and push this forward, as we go through into Monday, going into Tuesday, look at this. Tuesday comes along, and we have widespread rainfall activity trying to get going as we get into Tuesday, going a bit into Wednesday. Look at Wednesday as well. Wednesday bringing us some rainfall activity. Thursday comes along, doesn't really bring us too much. I'm really looking at Tuesday and Wednesday, those 2 days right there, because those 2 days seem like it can definitely bring us the most beneficial rainfall as we go into next week. Now that goes all the way in. Now we go all the way through into Saturday, going into Sunday of not this Saturday and Sunday, but next week, Saturday and Sunday. And you're not seeing anything too bad at all. In fact, we're seeing another little dry patch until maybe we move into the end of not next week, but the week after. We may be talking about some more rainfall activity. But again, that's a long ways out. You know, we're going to see what happens as we continue through the future, but beneficial rainfall is on the way. Beneficial rainfall is on the way as we continue into next week. So make sure that you are prepared, make sure that you are ready, and make sure also tomorrow you have that thunderstorm plan in place, because thunderstorms, obviously, anything can happen. Now, in terms of how much rainfall they're saying we're going to receive, just in general, If we go to the official forecast from the not the Storm Prediction Center, but the Weather Prediction Center, they are talking about right now, as we go throughout the next 72 hours or so, this goes all the way through Monday, 8 p.m., not a whole lot, but definitely a good amount to get us, saturated a little bit. I mean, we're talking about 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch for the majority of us, maybe some of us even less, some of us close to a 1/2 inch, a bit more than that. But if we go throughout the week, so this goes all the way into next week, Friday, I mean, we're talking about now a good inch potentially in the upstate, 3/10 of an inch in Charleston, 1/2 an inch near Myrtle Beach, 3/10 of an inch near Columbia. So we're seeing a good amount of rainfall as we go throughout the next 7 days. It definitely will not be enough to take out this drought, but it will be enough to go on and try to get us some relief, if not a whole lot. If not a whole lot. Now, if we go on and go back to the ensembles as well, seeing what the ensembles are saying in terms of our actual mean averages for rainfall, as we go all the way throughout mid-May or somewhere around there, it's showing us around a good 2-3 inches or so, which again, beneficial. Won't be enough to completely get rid of the drought though. So this drought is still going to be with us for a long period of time. But it's going to be nice to try and start taking down with it, not, just seeing the thing explode as much as it has been, and kind of just starting to see it trickle down. Now, as we go on and talk about our temperatures, I'm going to start off with anomalies first, then we'll go on and look at exact temperatures. But as we go on and push this forward, we're talking about warmer than average temperatures as we go into tomorrow, but then obviously that will change. We're talking about cooler than average temperatures starting to move in as we go into Sunday. But you go through Monday, getting into Tuesday. I mean, just look at how cold it's trying to get. We're talking about 15 degrees below average on Tuesday for some of us. But then we go into Wednesday still, getting kind of cool. And it kind of stays cool for the majority of the week. Then look at how we get into the week after next week. Cool conditions throughout almost the entire southeast. So a cold blast is trying to make its presence known as we get into the, I think that is the first full week of May, trying to get into like the later part of that week. But definitely warm temperatures are trying to make its way through afterwards though, but honestly I don't know how long it's going to last. But cool temperatures are definitely trying to make its return, and warmer temperatures are going to try and skedaddle out of here. Now, what about for our actual temperatures? Well, it looks like right now that we are continuing to kind of just stay up into the 80s as we go into tomorrow. Now, as we go into Sunday comes along, we're talking about some more 80s. We go all the way into the 70s as we go into Monday. Tuesday comes along, we're still talking about some more 50s, some 60s for our high. And it's not going to be that warm. Not going to be that warm as we get into next week. Even as we go into high temperatures for Wednesday, only in the 60s. And again, these are subjected to change, of course, but it's not looking like 80s, not looking like 90s or anything like that as we go into next week. And then even as we go into the week after next week, still, we may see some 80s here and there, but not looking like anything close to 90 for the near to short-term future. And no, it is not going to be freezing. I just saw Mr. Chris comment. He says as long as it's not freezing. Yeah, no, it's not going to be freezing. Not going to be freezing. And so that's all that I can see here throughout the state here in terms of temperature. So let's go on now. And talk about, or talk with, I should say, the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Go on and zoom this in real quick. Starting off with Mount Lou, who says, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you." Then Mr. Chris also says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day." Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking. And then Mr. Chris says, "Got you around 87 today. Currently, it's around 69. Well, at my house right now, seems to be currently around 66. The high temperature for today was around 94. I think that might be a bit of a exaggeration there, because the high temperature for us today, I mean, it may not have been. Let me check real quick. May have a bit of a heat bias for today. The official from the National Weather Service, they say it is around, oh, that's dew points. Temperatures, yeah, they only got up to around 84. So yeah, I think mine had a bit of a exaggerated temperature uppage there. But honestly, my older one says it was, let's see, it says around 91. So yeah, probably around 85, 86 is probably where we were today. Then my Lou says, prayfully everyone had a blessed day. Well, thank you so much for that. I did. Today in Georgetown, we had a great day. High went around 82, currently 68. Thank you so much for that weather report. Mr. Chris says, had some thunder at my place, but no rainfall. I didn't hear any thunder today. It just got very dark and cloudy. My name says, hello, Jay from JT's room. Nice warm day today. Well, thank you so much for that weather report. Hello to you. And then Maya Lewis says, it got a little cloudy, however, it did not last long at all. And then my name says, hello, everyone. Hope you all had a blessed day. Maya Lewis says, again, I enjoyed my day shopping and the nice weather that we had. Sounds nice. And then also at one time, I thought it was going to rain also, but it did not. Mr. Chris says, we had thunder all around us, but nothing happened. Then my Aunt Lewis says, wow, we would love to have some rainfall. No thunder here in Georgetown. And then my Aunt Lewis says, every little bit of rain may help. Absolutely. Some is better than none. More cold. And then Mr. Chris says, today was very quiet. The fire department was quiet as well. Yeah, I mean, like I said, right now, I think we're getting into that point now to where people are probably trying to take heed to the point of you should not be burning. I mean, especially with all the Georgia wildfires going on right now. So I think a lot of them probably are trying to take heed to that now. And also just to the fact that it is also, the burn ban's been out for a while now as well. And so I think most people probably know about it at this point. And then also it's just not as windy today. I mean, just like a lot of factors can go into it. Like I can go on forever. But I mean, just we're getting more and more into our time period where we've been dealing with this for a good little bit. But that's all that I can see here throughout the chat. So let's go on now and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas outside of South Carolina? What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their weather forecast for them. So starting off with San Antonio first, you have low temperatures tonight at 72, high temperature for tomorrow at 92, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 71. So we're not talking about any sort of severe weather for you, not talking about any sort of excessive rainfall for you either, so you are good to go. But I will say you are pretty close to a risk of severe weather, but you're not quite in it, and it's for tomorrow. Let me check and see. Yeah, I mean, you actually don't even have a chance of rain tomorrow, according to the National Weather Service, but the Storm Prediction Center has you in the, ingredient zone, meaning that, if a shower was to get going, it could potentially turn severe, so we'll see what happens here. Now, in terms of your future, it does look like right now that you're talking about temperatures getting up into the 90s. I mean, we're talking about even some mid to upper 90s as we get into Tuesday. Then as we get into Wednesday, 93, Thursday, 90 next week. But then you'll start to cool down a little bit Friday, going to around 82. But rainfall, definitely going to try and get going as you get into Tuesday night, going into Thursday night. Now for Raleigh, North Carolina, low temperatures tonight at 62, high temperature for tomorrow at 89, then low temperatures tomorrow night at 60. No precipitation is expected for tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, there is definitely going to be some showers that go through your area. So your first chance of rainfall in a good little bit, and that will persist through the weekend as you go into Sunday night as well. And then temperature-wise, temperatures are going to stay pretty warm. I mean, up into the 70s. You're not really going to drop down to the 60s for highs, but you will have some chilly nights down to the 40s. Severe weather, excessive rainfall, just not expected at this time. And then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 49, high temperature for tomorrow at around 53, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 42. Precipitation is definitely expected. I mean, we're talking about a slight chance of showers tonight. Showers are likely tomorrow, and then tomorrow night showers are expected. So make sure that you are aware, make sure that you are paying attention for that. And your temperatures, for the most part, are going to stay pretty much trying to get up into the 60s, up into the 70s potentially as you get into the mid part of next week, but we'll see what happens there. Now, as we go on and look at your severe weather, excessive rainfall, I don't see anything here either. And then finally, as we go to Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 60, high temperature for tomorrow at 89, then low temperatures tomorrow night at 63. No precipitation is expected, except for maybe tomorrow, a slight chance of thunderstorms there, mainly after 1 o'clock, with a 20% chance of thunderstorms. Temperatures for you, they're going to stay up into the 90s or so, Sunday going into Monday. Tuesday, you're going to be into the 80s a little bit. And then as we go all the way into Thursday, Friday, temperatures are actually going to calm down pretty well into the 70s and 60s. Now, as we go on and talk about your severe weather, your excessive rainfall, right now, you do have a risk for tonight. You do have a marginal risk of severe weather, mainly just for damaging winds and hail, which right now that severe thunderstorm warning is now moving down towards your south and east. Y'all have been incredibly just dodgy with all this severe weather that's been happening. Every time I look, it's like there's a severe thunderstorm warning in Lawton, but it just completely misses Duncan. Now, Duncan is very close to getting some rainfall. Will it, though? Right now, it's looking like you may have some sprinkles, but that's about it. And the main storm is moving down towards your south. Now, tomorrow, you still do have a risk. Tomorrow, you are inside of a marginal risk, 2% risk of tornadoes, a 5% chance of damaging winds, and a 5% hatch risk of damaging hail, meaning that you have a 5% risk of, hail of up to an inch in diameter, and potentially even seeing that hail potentially being up to 2 inches in diameter. And then Sunday, probably being the bigger day out of these two, tonight and tomorrow, where you have a slight risk of severe weather and a chance that some of those storms could potentially be significant. So watch out for that. And that's all that I can see here throughout the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. So let's go on now and end this off and see what's going on throughout the areas outside of South Carolina and outside of the 4 areas that we talk about. Active spring pattern across the center of the nation with several rounds of severe thunderstorms in the forecast through the weekend. The regions under the greatest threats are the southern plains into the Mississippi Valley. Meanwhile, dry and breezy conditions with dry fuels are aiding in wildfires across the western high plains and the southeast. Wind and some snow for the northern Rockies as well. So a lot of stuff going on, especially as we get into tonight, going into tomorrow. And honestly, with the several rounds of severe weather, let's go ahead and break down the regions real quick. So if you know anybody in these areas, definitely do let them know. Tonight, obviously, there's a risk down there for Shreveport, Longview, Bossier City, Texarkana as well. New Orleans is included, Dallas is included. If you know anybody in those areas, some of them have already done, but a couple of them still have some spots left, like in Alexandria, New Orleans, those areas for sure. Tomorrow, there is another enhanced risk of severe weather. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Fort Smith, Midwest City, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Norman, Dallas, Fort Worth, Lincoln, Nebraska. You know anybody in those areas, let them know. That's for tomorrow. And then as you go into day 3, that's Sunday, Kansas City, Overland Park, Topeka, Kansas. Those are the areas in the gun on the major gun as you go into Sunday. Plus some other areas like Oklahoma City, again, Dallas, Memphis, going down into Little Rock, down over into Jackson, Mississippi, and up into Des Moines, Iowa. And then probably one of the more talked about days being up there near Chicago, near St. Louis, near Indianapolis, near Memphis, near Joliet, Illinois, near Madison, Wisconsin. That is for Monday. So again, those are just the areas that are going on with severe weather as you go into the next couple of days or so. We did get a picture today. One was from Mr. Chris. He did send one and said Moncks Corner around 4 o'clock p.m. today. So thank you so much for this picture. If you want to go on and send me a picture, you can by sending it to scweather360@gmail.com. Again, that is scweather360@gmail.com. And if you don't want to send it on email, that's fine. But you have Twitter, you can by sending it to 360_weather. Again, that is 360_weather. And that's all that I can see here throughout just the chat. Right now, that's all I can see throughout my Gmail. And I'm done for the night. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Right now, we've had around a good 8 people tune in tonight. We only have 3 likes. Go and hit the like button if you haven't already. Also, share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly because it's free. And not only you, but them can also go on and share it as many times as you want, free of charge. That's all. I'll tune back in going into tomorrow for your Saturday morning forecast update. And everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you're new.